Today we celebrate the feast of St. Margaret of Scotland, and as I sit here, I think that probably Hiri will go through the rest of the day practicing her Scottish accent. She lived in Scotland for a while. She's actually pretty good. St. Margaret was an amazing person. She was a princess in Hungary, and her mom and her family got put on a boat to go to England when her father was called back to the military service. And they were shipwrecked. The ship got blown off course and they ended up in Scotland. And the king who took them in was just smitten by young Margaret and fell in love with her right away and married her. They had 8 children, 6 boys and 2 girls, and went on to become a saint. She spent her life and her fortune serving the poor and helping them. And she was such a witness to the faith. She was so devout that she touched the heart of her husband as well. And he wanted to be holy like she was holy. The readings today are all about witnessing to that faith, not just with our words, but especially with our deeds and our actions and our attitudes. Look at Zacchaeus, who was a tax collector, and most tax collectors were considered sinners because often they would extort money from people. Instead of collecting the dollar in taxes that they were supposed to collect from a person, they would collect $2 or $3. And they had the Roman guards to back them up. So what could people do? It was like the old mafia movies where people come in and ask for protection money for businesses. But something drew him to Jesus by the witness of his life. Probably didn't understand that he was the Messiah, but understood there was something holy about him, and he wanted to see more of him. But he was little and he couldn't see. And so he climbed a tree, and probably everyone made fun of him, but he didn't care because he wanted to see Jesus. And Jesus saw him and said, "Come here, I'll have dinner with you at your house." And everyone complained against him because he said he's eating with sinners. And Zacchaeus, to his own credit, said, "I will give half my money to the poor, and if I extorted anything from anyone when I'm collecting taxes, I'll make it up to them fourfold." He was that witness that even sinners can be called back to God. Or Eleazar in the first reading, how he wouldn't even make the appearance of eating meat sacrificed to idols because he was 90-some years old, and he said, "I'm this old. Do you think I'm going to turn my back on God now after I've served him all my life?" And so his witness, I'm sure, allowed others to stay strong, even in the face of being tortured. Every little thing we do, every word we speak, every action we make, we're witnessing to others. What would that witness be like in our lives? I'll leave you with a little story. There was a man who was probably in his 30s who he was kind of slow, and he had a speech impediment. And he used to ride all through the Mon Valley with a bicycle with a basket on the back, collecting aluminum cans and taking them to the scrapyard all day long, everywhere. And he used to come into the building that we ran for the diocese, and there was a guy named Joe there who was much taller than me. He called him Big Joe. I was Little Joe. I know I'm going to regret telling that story. But he would pray with him, and he would give him $1 every day, and he would show up and he'd say, Big Joe here, dollar. And Joe would come out and he said, "Let's say a prayer." And they would say a prayer, and he'd ask him how he was doing, and he gave him $1. Well, one day Gregory came in and said, We're praying. So what do you mean? Mommy, she's in the hospital. His mother was in the hospital, and he wanted to pray. And as we started to pray, he went, and I just marveled at it because he didn't ever have formal training to do anything, and I sincerely doubt he was Catholic, but he had seen Big Joe so many times make the sign of the cross in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit. And even if he didn't understand the concept of the Holy Trinity, he knew there was something sacred in that action because of things that Joe did that were just instinctive, just being holy, just praying. even in the midst of trials and tribulations. And so we have to ask ourselves, what witness will we give to people this day? By our actions, by our words, and most especially by our attitude. Will we draw people closer to Christ, like St. Margaret, or push them further away?